and welcome to Matt's Beamer. I hope the start of this new year is going to plan. I am very excited because I was able to find some of the tools I needed for future videos. It's so frustrating for me at times when the translator doesn't know what the certain tools are called. So if any of you guys like BMW F20, F21 1 series videos, this is the place to be. I am also grateful for any ideas for future videos, not necessarily related to the 1 series. One viewer, KC for real, says that I should add a car news segment to this channel. If anyone else has any ideas, just please comment down below. It will help me out quite a lot. Oh, also, do any of you know where the good places are to mount my GoPro? This time, the GoPro is stuck to my forehead, but I look a complete utter tool. Anyway, Matilda Ivanova asks, what cars have you owned in your life, and how did your interest in cars begin? Are your family into cars too? Well, the cars I have owned were in the previous video, in a similar format to this. I'll leave a link down below. So, how did your interest in cars begin, and are your families into cars? Well, my interest in cars grew around the vehicles my father used to own as I grew up, and yes, I would say my dad was into cars when he was younger. When I was a very small boy, I used to love playing with my Matchbox cars, and then onto the collectible car models. I had quite a few of them, which I still have back in England. I used to love watching the wheels go round when I used to push them along the floor. As I grew older, I used to be able to tell what the car was by the sound. I couldn't do it with today's cars though. My dad always had some interest in cars which I used to care for as I grew up. My best friend Murphy used to be a self-employed mechanic, so had lots of different cars he was working on. I used to go and see him every day and learn how to fix cars. My dad had a lot of cars before I was born, but I can only tell you about the ones that he told me about. He also had plenty of commercial vehicles too. His first vehicle was a Mini Clubman van which he modified. He fitted a 1275 Mini Cooper S-Lump and he stuck a wide body kit on it. It was in British racing green with a yellow roof. He also told me that he had a mattress in the back. So I guess my dad has a lot more interesting stories than me. Then, when he was about 18 or 19, he had a Triumph TR6 in a mustardy kind of colour. He saw it as a much more superior vehicle to the Triumph Spitfire and the GT6. Another car he had was the Mark X 420G Jaguar in a dark blue. I think it died though due to rust. One of the first cars I remember growing up with, when I was about 3 years old, was the original Opel Senator A with the 3-litre engine, though personally I prefer the next generation with the big waffle grille. It was when I was about 4 years old, back in 1988, that I knew what my favourite car brand was. My dad brought home his new car, which was amazing for me back then when I was a kid. It was a 1984 BMW 735 finished in a lovely champagne colour. The interior was brown. This car was like no other car he had before. Well, since I was born anyway. One of my strongest memories of this car is when my dad slammed my finger in the boot. Luckily, my fingers were okay. After the E23, he bought a 1988 Range Rover with a big burbly V8. As a kid, I remember looking at the window and thought, wow, it's nice being this high up. But there were problems with the automatic transmission. I was very happy though, because he swapped it for a silver 1989 E34 535 ISE, finished in a beautiful silver with silver leather seats. This car was wonderful, and I remember falling in love with this brand even more. I was obsessed with it. It was the first car he owned with a telephone too. He also had a 1989 Mark III Escort 1.8 for doing the rubbish drives. It was also one of the cars my mum learnt how to drive in. My mum had quite a few cars too, which my dad bought her, but they were more project cars. I shall quickly list the ones I can remember at the end. Anyway, my dad had the 535 ISC for quite a while until some idiot in his Mark 1 Fiesta drove into the side of him and pushed my dad's car into a massive tree. The policeman said, "Thank goodness you were in a BMW, otherwise you would not be here." My dad had to look for a new car now, and then finally he found one that he liked. It was when the E30 7 series was new, so he got a good price on a used E32. He had a 1990 diamond black Alpina B12 based on the 750 IL. This E32 had all the options ticked. It even had a fridge in the centre armrest. It was also the car that got my dad into trouble. He was doing 140 miles per hour when he was flashing the undercover cop car out of the way. Unfortunately though, this car got so much bad attention that people tried to steal it. Luckily, they never did, but the stickers and the front bumper had to come off to make it less obvious of what it was. With the speeding offence, and with people wanting to steal it, it was about £1,800 for my dad to insure. Bear in mind, he must have been about in his 40s back then. When the E32 went, along came a 1994 E34 540i Touring, finished in Oxford green with silver leather seats. I loved it when he opened the double sunroof and put his foot down. That 4-litre V8 sounded immense. Just before he bought the car, the engine was replaced by BMW due to the nickel seal issues they had. It was underneath warranty, and the car had low mileage anyway. The next car for him was very special for us both, and it is still my dream car now. My dad took the plunge and bought a 1992 E31 850i, finished in brilliant red with black leather seats. It was a wonderful car, even though me and my brother were squashed into the rear seats. I was about 6 foot tall. It was worth it though. He did look at many other E31s over the years, including a bright yellow one which was an AC Schnitzer version. It was a very sad day when he admitted defeat and bought another car which was practical. A 1998 P38 Range Rover 4-litre SE in Nigerian grey. It had the alloys of the new released Range Rover back then, and it was the first P38 with these wheels on. It is still on the road today, I believe. After this car, he went back to BMW at last. It was a 2000 plate E39 individual AC Schnitzer M5, finished in the individual Oxford Green 2 paintwork with almost white leather seats. It was a beautiful spec with very low miles. I think the original owner paid £90,000 for that car. He sold the M5 and got a year-old black E65 730D Sport, which was a mean-looking car with a lot of spec. He kept missing the M5 though, as he didn't like the soft ride of the E65, and so he decided to buy a convertible.
My windows are frozen.
A convertible he always had a soft spot for was the Mercedes SL, and I remember all the years that he kept looking at them. So in 2004 he bought a 2002 Mercedes SL 500 finished in silver. It had 12,000 miles on the clock when he bought it, and it was in very good shape. Though it was in good shape, it was not the most reliable car he owned. Water kept dribbling into the boot and messing up some of the electric boxes, and as you know, those boxes cost a lot of money. Anyway, he kept that car for a few years before going all practical again, so he decided to buy a 2003 Porsche Cayenne S with a sexy 4.5 V8. He had it for about 7 or 8 years, I think. It never went wrong. This car has also been featured on my channel. I'll leave the link down below. His current car though is a 2013 BMW X6 40D, which he bought from the local Bentley dealer. I am very glad my dad is finally back into BMW again. This X6 has also been featured on my channel. I'll leave the link down below. His current car though is a 2013 BMW X6 40D, which he bought from the local Bentley dealer. I am very glad my dad is finally back into BMW again. This X6 has also been featured on my channel. I shall post the link down below for that too. I'm just trying to think what cars my mum had. I remember that she had a Ford Escort XR3i, finished in black, with a 7-Up man in the window. She also had a Citroen 2CV, or Citroen Dolly, whatever you call them, in a bright red, with the red and white deck chair roof. I won't go into any details of the lorries and other commercial vehicles my father owned, because I guess that will bore you even more. But thank you, Matilda, for asking me some questions. I really enjoy making these videos, so you all get to know me somehow. If any others of you would like to ask me any questions, just please comment down below. Thank you and take care, and have a good day.